started hitting back at you on a number of fronts. He took aim at your weight. What was your reaction to that?
Oh, well, like he's some Adonis? I mean, please. Look, Howie, there are tens of millions of Americans out in your audience watching right now who, like me, have struggled with their weight. I continue to struggle. I continue to try to do better, and so do they. And what's that got to do with my competence for office? I ran the governorship of New Jersey for 8 years, I think in a very energetic, successful way. Responded to Hurricane Sandy, working 20 hours a day for weeks. I don't know what his point is. You know what it is? It's like a child. It's a bully on the schoolyard who teases you and makes fun of you. But here's my message to him. I don't care what he says about me, and I don't care what he thinks about me. And he should take a look in the mirror every once in a while. Maybe he dropped the weight thing off of his list of criticisms.
Right. You haven't exactly been secret about it.
Now, that was a pretty funny clip. Chris Christie saying, what is this guy, Adonis? Who does Donald Trump think he is? Donald Trump is obese. How can Donald Trump talk about Chris Christie's weight? Kind of funny, and Chris Christie did a good job of kind of inserting some humor into it. But that's where we're at with the Republican primary. We're talking about the weight of candidates and Donald Trump calling other candidates fat, which is, again, par for the course for Donald Trump and his schoolyard bullying tactics, right? And of course, this question comes on Fox News. You have a Republican primary candidate. You have a few minutes to ask him questions, and you ask him about Donald Trump's criticism of his weight. Ugh, Fox News. You guys are so pathetic. So pathetic. Now, I will give Chris Christie a little bit of a thumbs up here for not just changing the topic, as most Republican primary candidates do when they're asked about Donald Trump. They want to shy away from that because they're trying to court his voters somehow, which is really funny that like Mike Pence does this. He had Donald Trump's voters wanting to hang him on January 6th, and now he's trying to court those same voters, which is utterly insane, but that's what we get whenever you have any news about Donald Trump. It's just kind of insanity. So I will say that Chris Christie, man, way to just hang in there and address the question, even with a little bit of humor. But still, Chris Christie, I still think you're an absolute train wreck of a candidate. Now, Chris Christie also spoke at the Faith and Freedom conference just this past week, and he slammed Donald Trump there as well.
Why am I running for president of the United States? I'm running because he's let us down. He has let us down because he's unwilling. He's unwilling to take responsibility for any of the mistakes that were made, any of the faults that he has, and any of the things that he's done. And that is not leadership, everybody. That is a failure of leadership. And you can boo all you want. But here's the thing. Our faith teaches us that people have to take responsibility for what they do. People have to stand up and take accountability for what they do. And I cannot stand by. And as soon as I've started to be critical, after all of that, and after you offered me White House Chief of Staff, now what he does is call me names and belittle me.
Of course, those were Trump supporters booing Chris Christie, which just brings us back to how in the world is anybody going to win the Republican primary and then face off against Joe Biden when you have Donald Trump and all of his supporters who are there nipping at your heels the entire way and potentially running as a third-party candidate and splitting the vote. This is insane, right? But it really begs the question, are any of these candidates, these Republican primary candidates, really going for the big prize and for the presidency, or are they just there to hurt Donald Trump? Because you got to remember, Donald Trump has started fights with everybody. I talked about Mike Pence and Chris Christie. These are both people who he's heavily criticized out in the open. So do these people really want to win the presidency, or are they just there to throw roadblocks in the way of Donald Trump? That seems to be, I think, what their real intentions are. They know that the presidency is completely lost, but they are just doing this as retribution, as revenge for what Donald Trump has put them through.